this is Janet from the Brantford Public Library with this week's STEAM Challenge. This week we're going to be looking at ice sculptures. Our challenge is to experiment with different substances to see what melts our ice sculptures the quickest. This is a fun experiment to do outdoors, and we only need a few materials, so let's have a look. You're going to start by filling 3 plastic containers with water about 3/4 full. You can also add some beads, some sequins, or some Lego. Now freeze these for a couple hours or overnight. Next, you can add food coloring to warm water, either in a squeeze bottle or separate cups. You will also need a dish of salt, a dish of sugar, and a separate dish for baking soda. Now take your ice blocks outside and dump them onto a large container. We're now ready to start our experiment. Begin by putting a teaspoon of salt onto the first block of ice, a teaspoon of sugar onto your second block of ice, and a teaspoon of baking soda onto the third block of ice. Now wait a few minutes and see what happens to each ice block. What makes the ice melt faster, the salt, sugar, or baking soda? What happens to the surface of the ice? You should be able to see that the salt begins to melt the ice and makes pits in the surface. Salt dissolves into the water of the ice and lowers the freezing point so that you can melt it. You'll also be able to see that the baking soda will melt the ice, but at a slower rate. This is because baking soda is a type of salt. The block sprinkled with sugar will eventually begin to melt the ice, but at a much slower rate than the salt or baking soda. Now you can spray or drop warm water over the spots that the ice has melted and make more holes in the ice. What happens to your ice block now? What shapes can you create? I hope you had fun experimenting with ice sculptures today. Thanks for joining us for our STEAM Challenge. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to see what the library is doing. Join us again next time.